Hello and welcome to this Sanut TV news update. I'm Nick Peters. A new report out today called Manufacturing Barometer, Shaping the Future of SME Manufacturing, demonstrates the fairly uncontroversial contention that the UK manufacturing sector is facing some very, very significant challenges. Of course, there's the pandemic, which has sideswiped everybody this year, but there's also Brexit. And I'm joined by Nick Golding, who's MD of the Southwest Manufacturing Advisory Service, which produced this report in partnership with the Manufacturing Growth Programme. Nick, what stands out for me is that manufacturers in the UK see Brexit as something that is almost universally going to cause them harm.
Well, I think we've surveyed over 400 companies, and only 3% of companies believe that this is going to have a positive impact on them. So it's certainly not the data supports that sort of statement, I'm afraid.
Well, given that Brexit is, well, we have already Brexited, we're now waiting for the end of the transition period, and there doesn't look like there's going to be any kind of extension. The government seems very set against that, as well as quite possibly heading towards a no deal. So if you add that to the pandemic, I mean, what we have is a really serious situation for UK manufacturing because the pandemic has really sideswiped our sector.
Yeah, I think there's been a bit of a perfect storm. We've had the coronavirus pandemic, and whereas in March businesses had taken quite a number of steps to prepare, unfortunately the resources have been stretched because of coronavirus. You can see that many of the businesses are still showing significant downturns. And whilst the manufacturing sector has shown great resilience, and you can see from our data that very few firms are actually closing down, there's about 63%, I think, are significantly impacted in terms of reduced turnover from their pre-COVID levels. With Brexit coming up at the end of the year and further challenges laying ahead for manufacturing, I think there is some need for government support. What we tried to do in this survey was ask that question, really.
So what does that support look like? What are you talking about here?
Well, we asked the question of what type of support businesses would actually need, and we gave them a range of options and left it open as well for them to tell us. And for the SME section of the market, overwhelmingly, they feel that grant-based support is what's needed at this time, followed closely by support to protect their employees and ensure they can continue employment in a similar vein to furlough. When you look at the decisions that businesses have had to take over the last 6 months or so, manufacturing firms have tended to try and protect their employees first and foremost to minimise the impact on their business. So I think every manufacturing business leader recognises that people are their highest priority. But what you are now starting to see is a need to invest, I think, for these capital grants because of the requirement to diversify into new markets, develop new products, and try and find areas where that demand still exists. Because fundamentally, the issue with COVID has been a significant lack of demand within the manufacturing sector, which we believe will actually get exacerbated further by Brexit.
You mentioned that companies feel that they can survive, but it does appear to be conditional on this help from the government. And I would say, looking at the politics of the moment and the state of the economy, that is by no means certain. If manufacturing is going to actually make it through this crisis, as you say, there is going to have to be some support. And if it doesn't arrive, then we could see some companies go out of business. Is that one of your fears?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a fear. But like I said, I would reiterate the resilience that the sector is showing. I think businesses are trading at reduced levels, but they're also taking decisions to be able to try and reduce that potential impact. I think it's tough decisions that they're having to make, and I think that further support would clearly be welcomed around things like capital grant investment, support, employee support, and skills and development training, as well as support to help diversify. So I think the businesses are clearly saying that they would like support in those areas. We believe that support, there is a government programme called Made Smarter that's been piloted in the Northwest. If you look at the sorts of requests that are coming through as part of this, we believe that could help support that if there was a national rollout of that programme. And I think that's what businesses need. There's a strong possibility that with social distancing, with the support that's being asked for, that there is a window of opportunity to try and accelerate the journey to Industry 4.0. And rather than this being a massive threat, if we can bring together the right level of government support through a programme similar to Made Smarter or Made Smarter, we believe that there is an opportunity to support the companies in the way they're asking for and put UK manufacturing back on the forefront, because we're going to have to be globally competitive moving forward as of the 1st of January.
Looking at the figures, which obviously have focused on how manufacturers have been getting on, for better or for worse, during the pandemic, some doing very well, some obviously struggling, it's significant to me that in 2019, the trend was already downwards in terms of sales, profits, confidence, investment, and so on. Is that down to Brexit again?
What we did see is a bit of a downturn, and we believe that was due to the uncertainty of Brexit. Because when the decision was made that we would get the extension, there was a slight pickup and a bit of clarity when when we had a solid result in terms of majority government. That certainty seemed to give a little bit of confidence to the market. But then that's been quickly followed by COVID, which took away that confidence from its sales, really. So I think what the manufacturing sector is saying, I believe, is that actually certainty and confidence and stable demand is key for them to be able to survive and grow. And given that manufacturing does make up more than 50% of all exports from the UK, then it's obviously a key sector, and those things are going to be critical going forward.
Well, Nick, thank you very much indeed for being with us, and very much appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to say very quickly, thank you to all of the SME manufacturers that have participated in this survey. We tried to make it take 5 minutes, and we really appreciate your time and resource at this very difficult time.
Nick Golding of the Southwest Manufacturing Advisory Service, which, together with the Manufacturing Growth Programme, produced this report. There's a link to it on your screen. Do download it. It's worth a look. This has been a Zanute TV News Update. Thank you very much for watching. See you again soon.